Okay, so far in Math Lab, we have done 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication using arrays, and you've done a great job. Today we're going to try using the distributive property of multiplication, and we're going to think of it like tag team wrestling. Alright, the first thing we need to do is we need to break these numbers into numbers that are easier to work with. We're going to do that by turning these double-digit numbers into their expanded form. So 24 is going to become 20 plus 4. And 37 is going to become 30 plus 7. Let's get ready to rumble. In our first wrestling match, the 20 is going to wrestle the 30. 20 times 30. Well, let's see. I know that 2 times 3 equals 6. So 20 times 30 must equal 600. Now the 20's not too tired to keep wrestling. The 20 is going to wrestle the other member of that 37 team. That's 7. 20 times 7. Well, I know that 2 times 7 equals 14, so 20 times 7 must equal 140. The 20 is starting to get tired, so he is going to tag in his partner, the 4. Our third wrestling match today, the 4 is going to wrestle the 30. 4 times 30 equals, there again I've got to think of a simpler problem. 4 times 3 equals 12. So 4 times 30 must equal 120. He's not done yet. That 4 still has enough energy to wrestle the 7. 4 times 7 equals 28. And just like we did when we learned about arrays, we broke those numbers apart at the beginning to make them easier to work with. Now, we're going to add them. I'll add those partial products to put our numbers back together. If I add the digits in the ones column, I see that I have 8 groups of ones. If I add the digits in the tens column, I have 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So I have 8 groups of 10. And in the hundreds column, I have 6, 7, 8. 8 groups of hundreds. So 37 times 24, I now know is 888. Or, as it's originally written, 24 times 37 is 888. Alright, now it's your turn to try. I would like you to try this problem. 72 times 25. I know that you can do it using arrays. Today I want you to try using that distributive property, otherwise known as tag team wrestling. Go ahead, give it a try. We'll pause while you work it out. I hope you started by breaking those big numbers into their expanded form to make them easier to work with. 72 would become 70 plus 2. And 25 would become 20 plus 5. Time for wrestling. Our first wrestling match, that 70 is going to take on the 20. 70 times 20. Now I know that 7 times 2 is 14. So 70 times 20 is a pretty big number because of those extra zeros holding the place. So 70 times 20 is really 1,400. That 70's on a roll. In our second wrestling match, the 70 is going to wrestle the 5. 70 times 5. This is a toughie. Well, I know that 7 times 5 is 35. And that's 70 times 5. There's that 0 there. So that's going to be 350. Note that I'm using some graph paper to make sure that I'm lining up my digits, which is really, really important when we go to the adding step at the end. Alright, that 70 is getting pretty tired. He's tagging in that 2, his partner. The 2 is going to wrestle the 20. That's our third wrestling match. 2 times 2 I know is 4. So 2 times 20 must be 40. Alright, let's see. We have our last wrestling match. And that is the 2 times the 5. And we all know that 2 times 5 equals 10. Are we ready to put those partial products back together? Remember, line up that place value. It is so important anytime you're adding. In the ones column, I have 0 groups of ones. In the tens column, I have 5 plus 4, which is 9, plus 1, which is 10. Well, 10 groups of 10 is really 100. So we put our 0 down there, we carry our 1 for our 1 group of hundreds. Let's add our hundreds column. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 3 is 8. And then we have 1 digit left in our thousands column. If we sum or find the sum of the thousands column, we find that that's 1. So the answer to 72 times 25 is 1,800.